僕は知っている。つなぐ手の先に君の心はないず。あのセリフも嘘。僕は気づいてる。キラと虫の裏に知らないやつの影そう。画面越し君は笑ってない。これっきり終わらせたい不遇人生。腐ってる愛を名乗るつながりだち。お返しに言葉を送る。ありがたく受け取れよ。行けたら行くわ。本当に君が好きなのは誰なの。瞳の奥隠されている無数の虚像を。君の真の姿にはずっと近づけないまま。どこにはないどうでもいいガランドディストーション。
Good evening and welcome back to my dwarven fortress of Esmulrakust, otherwise known as Filled Tombs, where we have been the subjects of a persistent elven siege for some time. And I was meaning to look up actually whether this siege had really been going on for so long, but maybe I shouldn't try to poke around YouTube's history of my streams while I'm in the middle of streaming another stream, because that would be confusing. Yes, look, here it is. So, what is going on? Well, we have a bunch of immigrants who are currently being chased around by the elven invaders. Like this one's quite close to the main entrance to the fortress. They might be able to get in if they're not scared off. We're still hopeful that some of them will make it in eventually. On the other hand, I think they have been closer to the main entrance. We currently have the slight problem that our the operators of our siege engines are all in the wrong places. I think maybe I've slightly messed this up. Like, are there more people I need to assign to this? Yeah, maybe I seem not to have assigned absolutely everyone to this. To the main burrow. So let's assign absolutely everyone to the main burrow. just in case that helps. We have an elf inside the Barbican at the moment, and like under normal circumstances I would close the outer drawbridge to lock them in and then do something with them and then get on with the next elf. But the thing is that I don't really want to lock the immigrants out if I can help it. So I think for now I want to leave the drawbridge down. I think we will get a siege operator soon, because I think this one will finish loading that bolt thrower. It's currently no, that's not very helpful. It's currently at like 76 bolts, but it's almost certainly being loaded one bolt at a time. So I hope that she will then head over to one of the front-facing siege engines in order to operate it against anyone who comes close. So let's see what happens. Well, despite this being a relatively late thing, I haven't done all of my stuff. A relatively late stream. I haven't actually done all of my setup here. Right, that's better. Now I can see when things are happening. Oh, except I did that while unpaused, so now an immense amount of stuff has happened that I need to catch up with. Right, well then, let's see what's happened. Right, the elf has got in here and improved their observation. Right, there we are. So a bunch of people have been interrupted, which makes me worry that someone significant has come in here. But the only one I can see is the elf we already knew about, who is currently wrestling with our siege operator. That's kind of unhelpful. So that elf is Minaro Imara Thingamy. Who has injured one of our war dogs. Okay, probably killed, given what we're seeing here. Right, we need to get someone violent to deal with this, don't we? I mean, the war dogs are doing a decent job. Well, not very decent, they are dying, but, you know.
I assume part of the problem with constant sieges is that one, you don't get trade caravans, and two, you don't get fresh dwarves joining you.
Well, because I think this is officially not a siege, it's a succession of ambushes. We have actually got some immigrants arrived, but they're not very well armed and are thus suffering rather at the hands of the passing elves. Yes. I mean, looking at that, I think actually the raw dogs are not doing a bad job. So what are the other? Oh yes, have we got an axe dwarf kicking around somewhere who's actually who's like left the fortress and is making a nuisance of themselves outside? I'd forgotten about that. So the ones who've been found dead are, I think, just the immigrants, yes. 2 of our kittens have grown up, which is going to make it harder to put kittens in the place. Put kittens in place as... we don't know why the elves are annoyed with us. No, we haven't. I think they're just annoyed with our civilization in general. Right, yes, I think the interruptions are just people not people trying to deliver ammunition. Right, I think we need to get our... Yeah, so the current situation is that one member of that squad is currently, well, actually doing quite badly now, yes, because they went and left the fortress. And they're quite a long way down the hill, so we probably can't get them with any of the siege weapons. But we do need to deal with this elf, so I think I'm just going to say, Divine Stones, please, actually no, please explicitly kill that elf. I mean, they're not much good, but... So Cogsack is probably in quite a lot of trouble, yes. Okay, that's going to be fatal trouble. We can't do anything about that. Domas, on the other hand, is in trouble, but probably can be saved. And we'd like to, really. What's that? It's Peach-Faced Lovebird. I mean, one good feature of... Look, there was a recruit there. Why are you going down the stairs? Come out and kill this elf. I mean, or ideally, someone step backwards past those cage traps and the elf will be dealt with. It's an odd message. You apparently got shot with a copper bolt a while ago and you finally got bored with having it stuck in you. Right, so this recruit, who may be pretty useless, but is at least probably minimally adequately equipped, You're not dressed very well, but you have got an axe. And, like, having an axe is an important part of being a useful soldier. I will admit that. Oh dear. Yes, I mean, it was to be expected, really. I'm a bit concerned that we haven't got either of our siege engines staffed at the moment. And that, oh, I was going to say, and that there's a bunch of elf soldiers just down here, but there's also an immigrant quite nearby. So I think we should... Where's the immigrant got to? There. And a bunch of elf soldiers there, about the same distance away from the main gate. I think I'm going to optimistically hope that we can get the immigrant in before the soldiers organise themselves and come in. Steph says, is immigrants dying bad for your reputation? Yes, it will tend to cause immigrants not to turn up in future. It doesn't, on the other hand, unhappify the dwarves very much because they don't know the immigrants. So our siege operator, who is quite badly injured, is nonetheless continuing to do as best she can to hurt the elf who's attacking her. But there will be someone along with a battle axe quite shortly. They're like 5 squares away. And now running, I think, towards their target. I've noticed an awkwardness. If we're going to allow... If creatures are going to get in this far, it would probably be helpful if we had a different way of getting into the hospital. Because currently the doctors can't get to the patients. That's kind of unfortunate. Also, the hospital's full. I need to make it bigger. So what's going on around the main gate then? Where's that? So the immigrant is heading reasonably efficiently towards the gate. I think they might even stand a chance of getting there. I mean, our siege operator is doing all right, really. Has bruised the right lung of our elf swordsman. And like being stabbed with a coconut palm short sword turns out not to be very painful. At least if it doesn't happen too often. Ow, that was messy though. Still, our recruit is almost at the elf. And they're now the elf and the swordsman of the elf and the siege operator have taken to scratching one another, and both turning out to be quite effective at scratching. Which is a bit weird. Right, recruit, what can you do? if anything. I mean, excuse me, I'm going to have to show you this. Where is it? Elf Swordsman Idala? No, Idala's not the problematic one, or rather not the interesting one. Minaro. Recruit turns up, seeing everyone else scratching one another, goes, "Oh, that's how you fight, is it?" Being as they are not very good at fighting, and starts scratching. No, you've got an axe. Use your axe. It will help. Probably. Hit the correct person with the axe. That's better. That's how you do it. The recruit hacks the elf swordsman in the lower body with her iron battle axe, tearing apart the muscle through the jute skirt and spilling her guts. An artery has been opened by the attack. The jute skirt is ripped to shreds. Yes, carry on like that, and this elf will cease being a problem pretty shortly. So here's our incoming immigrant. Here are our incoming elves. I think possibly the scratching attack is overpowered. The siege operator scratches the elf swordsman in the upper right back teeth. I mean, that's a fairly impressive manoeuvre as it is. And the severed part sails off in an arc. Okay, maybe we didn't need the recruit with the battle axe. The siege operator bites the elf swordsman in the head, tearing the muscle. The elf swordsman has been knocked unconscious. The siege operator latches on firmly. I mean, at this point, of course, now we have an unconscious elf and someone with a battle axe. So this is going to result in bits of elf all over the place, I fear. Okay, that's dealt with it. Right. Our recruit, Carol Zephon Thingamy, has hacked the elf swordsman in the head with her iron battle axe, and the severed part has sailed off in an arc, which, it doesn't tend to result in survival. Excuse me, I've just picked up my tea. Right, so let's see what's going on outside. I fear our siege operator may have to go to the hospital, though, except that the hospital has no spare beds in it because it's currently utterly full of other people who've been injured in this siege. In part, I think, because it's quite difficult for anyone to get to the hospital at the moment. So let's install some more beds, even though they're probably going to repeatedly get cancelled. I mean, we could go for the less decorated beds. I mean, it'll cheer people up to have really nice beds in the hospital, on the other hand. Now, maybe a refrigerated bed is not right for a hospital. That just feels weird. Also, that's the wrong location, Ben. I want to put it there. Right. So one of our siege operators is asleep. One is injured already. Is that the one we've just been dealing with? One is apparently waiting for a weaponsmithing demonstration. Look, there's a siege engine to be operated. Go and operate it. Right, those two are both marked as fire. Right, so the Divine Stones should notice very shortly that they're that's the effective elf swordsman, that their target is dead and they can stop trying to kill them. Yes, there they go. So mostly we want to look at where where are you going? I feel you're going away again, which is not helpful. This lot, on the other hand, do seem to be heading towards, and we don't have any siege operators in place. I think I am feeling a bit nervous, and I'm going to slightly keenly close the outer drawbridge temporarily while we get our various arses into gear. I mean, we could, I suppose, close the inner drawbridge instead. Or at least first. Let's close both drawbridges. No. Yeah, let's close both drawbridges. And we'll then see where people end up, because there's then a chance that we'll end up with like 2 elves in the Barbican, which will be excellent. All right, yes, you're just our recruit who didn't even gain any axe skill from that. It was too small a fight, or at least didn't gain a level of axe skill. Okay, which is this siege operator? This is the siege operator. Right, yes, who apparently got comprehensively enraged to the point of knocking out the elf by biting them in the head. So I should actually watch what that character there is doing. Think they're going down. Yes, right, they're running away. So there's currently no one close to the entrance of the fortress who's actually heading towards it, other than this lot, who I think might be. Not sure though, they may actually not be heading that way anyway. Yeah, there's a planter out there somewhere who is slowly being killed, but I think is well beyond my reach. Being somewhere out to the south. I mean, I wonder if what we need is a bunch more bolt holes that can be used for immigrants, but I don't quite know how that would work. So do we have a decent number of people assigned to be doctors in this No, we have one doctor in the hospital. Let's assign some more generic doctors then. Particular anyone who is halfway competent. I mean, possibly we don't. Maybe they shouldn't be generic doctors, but on the other hand, that will help with them hanging around in the hospital when they're needed. That's mostly just that planter. So now I hope there might be some diagnose patient tasks turning up. Still no one firing the catapult or the bolt thrower. There are people at least scheduled to pull both of those levers. I presume I put the, yes. We should also actually include like that area in the interior space, burrow. Right, I don't think much is happening. I'll unpause for a few seconds and see what happens while watching the main entrance. Right, a war leopard has started coming in across the bridge. So let's get the divine stones back into active mode, but right back there, just in case the war leopard may. The war leopard shouldn't be able to get in that far, though, should it? Because it should trip the. Well, it might. I suppose it might start fighting people. So. Dear, our poor war dog, and we don't have any veterinary surgeons. Because Dwarf Fortress hasn't developed veterinary surgery yet. Like, I think there may be some stub bits of veterinary surgery, but they're not yet set up properly. Where's that leopard got to? Yes, it is heading into the fortress quite swiftly. But like, if it's swift enough, it'll just run straight into a cage trap. Actually, there's a couple of recruits there, ready for it. I presume that's another one outside. Yes, sorry. I'm afraid that as new arrivals, we aren't really well prepared for getting you past the siege. Right, incoming war leopard. But Ubul moves to intercept. So far they are dodging one another quite effectively. Maybe the leopard is running away. There's a slight danger that that bridge is going to close at some point soon. Whether it'll put the war leopard and the recruit on the same side, I'm not sure. Oh, that's nasty. War leopard has scratched the recruit in the upper lip, and the injured part is ripped into loose shreds. Ow. Painful. On the other hand, someone at least has got an axe into play now, and that's probably going to dispose of the war leopard fairly quickly. Especially since several people have got axes into play. Yeah, I think that war leopard is not long for this world. How is our drawbridge going? It's still down. Yeah, leopard is now toast, as it were. So, is that I've forgotten what I was going to say, damn it. Oh well, so yes, that's one war leopard killed. By a bunch of people who are at least standing around in roughly the right place. How are our siege operators doing? Why are they still waiting for weaponsmithing demonstrations rather than coming and operating the siege engines? This is confusing. Are they like not allowed to be siege operators or something? I'm sure I sorted that out. Yes, everyone who has any siege operating skill at all is marked as be a siege operator. Maybe I need to turn off the Siege Operators Guild Hall for a bit. Weaponsmiths Guild Hall for a bit so that people do something else. Right, there we go. Because now is not the time to be learning weaponsmithing, even if it does keep you close to all the levers. Oh yes, is anyone actually like going to diagnose this 15 tons of patients? Someone's bringing more beds to the hospital, which I suppose is helpful. But like, I think we do need someone to actually do some medicine in the hospital. The hospital is not paused. Right, the outer drawbridge is now raised. There's nothing surprising inside, so probably let's just check if the inner drawbridge is still waiting for someone to pull its lever. No, okay, well then we'll wait for it to close and then reopen it and tidy up in there a bit. Let's unpause for a few seconds, and yeah, that looks like it's all the immigrants getting into trouble. Tigers are probably quite valuable. Let me quickly check. Do we want to keep tiger bits for chopping up? Yes. Let's add tiger to the list of things we try to collect corpses of. Giant tiger, just in case someone brings one along. Leopard. Yeah, they're worth keeping too. So this way, the tiger and leopard corpses should get explicitly butchered. Or rather, not explicitly, they should get transported to the stockpile right next or close to the butcher's shop, and then they should get butchered because they're conveniently nearby. Meanwhile, elf corpses and indeed kitten corpses should be dumped, and probably so should all those teeth. Actually, I just want to dump the entire contents of that square, don't I? That's going to be the easiest way to do this. Right there. And, well, large clothes are not very useful. I'll leave them there for now, but isn't there also like bits of dead elf around here that we want to deal with? Right, so that will then get that lot out of the way before they start rotting. So have we now? What's going on with the hospital? We just have a broken hospital. Sometimes the right approach. No, we've just assigned a bunch of people to the hospital. There's no excuse for not coming up here and doing your doctoring. But like the tasks aren't even... Oh right, we've got a diagnosed patient. Right, excellent. Someone's coming and doing some diagnosis finally. Right, that'll be good. Unpause and see what happens. Right, we can now open the inner drawbridge again. Yes, one of the immigrants has been found dead. That's not surprising. I think until our siege operators get their asses into gear, oh, all right, no, that's just someone standing up. That's dull. That, on the other hand, suggests a war leopard. There doesn't seem to be one. I think I may need to make a small adjustment to the hospital, because I've made the north wall part of the hospital. That's caused someone to, when there are no free beds in the hospital, go to sleep in the doorway, blocking the door or holding the door open. That's not a very helpful thing for them to have done. So I'm going to exclude that row so that they then hopefully do something more sensible. Right, we have a couple more beds in the hospital. I think we probably want to do the full 4 though, and a table in between them. And like, these are at least slightly decorated. That one's only encircled with bands of Dralthabone. That one is encircled with bands of silver and single-cut pyrites, menacing with spikes of well-crafted billen and superior quality Dralthabone, and with an image of Rainblot the Rosy Hegemon, the Limonite mechanisms in Elkbird bone, and an image of a floodgate in copper. Which, like, well, maybe it'll cheer up people who are in the fortress, who knows. I think that's entirely either people who are who are still stuck in combat mode, or standing up, or immigrants who are probably doomed anyway. Like, if we get our siege operators actually siege operating again, then I'll start thinking about opening the outer drawbridge and seeing if people can get in. But currently our siege operators are resting, sleeping, still watching a weaponsmithing demonstration and doing nothing, rather than, say, operating the siege engines. And like, the siege engines are definitely inside the burrow. Look, it comprehensively covers them. Doesn't matter whether they can get there, but they can. So I really don't understand why they're not going and operating those siege engines. Oh, and that war dog corpse should be got rid of. Those corpses should be butchered in due course. Thank you. You've made an animal trap an almost entirely useless object. I mean, to be fair, it's still no less useless than a figurine or whatever. That was the wrong button. I meant objects. The Rainy Braids, Udarnakuth. This is a Dralthabone animal trap, or grass-straw ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with oval tetrahedrite cabochons and encircled with bands of oval smoky quartz cabochons. This object menaces with spikes of draltha bone and porcelain. On the item is an image of the mirthful grasp, the limonite mechanisms, in copper. On the item is an image of Bemble Crushflag, the consort of the Gloom Brute and dwarves, in tetrahedrite. Bemble Crushflag is surrounded by the dwarves. The artwork relates to the ascension of the consort of the Gloom Brute, Bemble Crushflag. I'm now confused. Is Bemble Crushflag the Gloom Brute or the consort of the Gloom Brute? To the position of Queen of the Noble Work in 1. What's the item? It's an animal trap, which can be used to trap vermin if you really want to. But like for anything much bigger than vermin, you need to use a cage trap instead. Right, there is no longer an unconscious dwarf lying in the blocking the doorway to the hospital. I think we are reaching the point where all of the immigrants are just going to be dead anyway. Yes. Just like clicking on them occasionally to try to make sure that they're not anyone we properly care about. I mean, we'd like them not to die, but... that's the head of a tiger. We want to try to keep that. That stray war dog corpse, on the other hand, should just be thrown away. So how is the situation going here? Right, we do seem to have at least some... Oh, we should sort that out, shouldn't we? Yes, let's try to remember it for long enough. Some evaluation going on. Though the hospital is kind of crowded now. But it has occurred to me that we could do with, and it has also occurred to me that the place we would usually do it is here, which is kind of busy now. We could do with a soap maker's workshop to make, well, soap, in order that we can clean wounds more effectively and give happier baths. So... Okay, that was not the right place. It's actually here, yes. Oh. We somehow run out of stone blocks. Well, we'll make it out of porcelain then. I mean, that's silly, but that probably means we need to either start treating limestone as an economic stone, there's oh right, is obsidian is probably officially non-economic or something, and we don't, yeah, we've used up all of our ordinary stone, and we keep digging into areas that are mostly made out of excessively interesting stone. Okay, let's start treating limestone as non-economic as well. I think, because we have got quite a lot of it. It's already allowed to be used in non-economic jobs. We just didn't have it in the right stockpile. Yes, that's just another one of our outside dwarves. So my siege operators are now rest, sleep, drink, rest. Okay, 2 of them have managed to get themselves injured, apparently. Which is fairly silly. That's another one of the immigrants. Okay, I'm a bit alarmed by anyone who isn't a new arrival being out here. How did you get out here? You're a new arrival. You're not a new arrival. And yet you are still mucking around outside without adequate armour. I mean, I don't think I can safely do anything about this. Unless the number of invaders has dropped radically. I mean, it's not that high now. Either they're leaving or... I mean, they might actually be few enough that if we just get all of our military dwarves together and send them round as a mob, they could tidy up. Maybe we should try that. Station all of our dwarves here. Or possibly even station all of our dwarves in the Barbican. And then once they've kind of organised themselves, we'll send them out there to mop up if there's any mopping up still to be done. I mean, there will mostly be burying to be done, it looks like, but... Steph asks, doesn't soap require lye and thus ash/wood, which in your case you have not got? No, because we've been able to buy lye. So we've got the lye, and we've got the... we've got the tallow. Right, that's one squad in place because they're the ones who... see if anyone else is going to arrive. So my hope is that this lot, even though they won't be very competent, will be sufficiently close to, like, acceptably armoured and beweaponed. Okay, several of them are actually unarmed. That might be a bit asking a bit much of them. Can we release the last 3 of the crystalline drums? Does that work, or do we? No, I think what we have to do is to. I can't be bothered with that. Give them an order. Give each individual member an order rather than give some of them. I suppose we could have those ones state. No, it's just going to be too much faff. We'll let them out without any weapons, and we'll see how they do. They've got armour. If scratching is as effective as it seems to be, it might work quite well. Yeah, I think that's probably enough dwarves that we can take on the remaining elves. Let us close the inner drawbridge. Open the wider outer drawbridge. And see what happens. How's the hospital looking while we wait? Not that I'm waiting, but not all of the beds are occupied at the moment. Right, outer drawbridge lowered, inner drawbridge closed, as it happens. So, what should we do? Probably we want to work out where, and we can set them to initially just get outside. Right, so you just basically need to go down the hill and you'll find an elf. Though that's where we really want to be, isn't it? Let's go over there, because there are still some dwarven survivors over there. Right. So several dwarves and one cat are now heading out of the fortress. In search of someone to fight. And I'm kind of scared about this prospect, but I think they should be okay. It's kind of harder to keep track of than in the old fortress because everything is spread over so many Z levels. Is that... Hey, that's a surviving elf, so I think we want to prioritise getting down there and seeing if we can save them. Yes, we have a lot of messages, but they're all about fights where that are just the immigrants losing, which is not very exciting. There's going to be a lot of that until my military get themselves into a useful place. You're on the same Z level as an elf. Go and get them. I fear... Oh, no, still a live peasant down there, right. Not least because someone has been punching the teeth out of the elf. Where's the elf got to? Oh, there. Okay, yes. How are things going for you, elf? You are, like, getting at least slightly beaten up by the by that peasant, and you do seem to have lost your weapon, which might be why the peasant is surviving. I think our recruit here has finally started doing useful things. Good, that elf will not be long for this world at least. Being as they are now, bleeding heavily because they have been like hacked up by incoming recruits who may not really know which end of an axe is the dangerous one, but well, okay, they do know that much. They do know which end of the axe you point at the enemy. It's Nino, who is currently the elf we're targeting. Where's Nino got to? There. Yeah, definitely with unskilled wielders, axes are good. Because, like, you can, even if you don't really know what you're doing, fairly rapidly take someone apart with an axe. Like, only a dabbling axe dwarf, but still gets a fair number of quite dangerous hits in. So yeah, this poor peasant is possibly going to survive because their attacker is now getting gratuitously punched by people who have axes. Well, I think some of them have axes anyway. Ooh, something messy happened there, but the Nino thingamy is still alive. Albeit lacking a right foot now. Let's just unpause for a moment. Right, how is our elf swords person doing now? They don't seem to be there. Is there a corpse there? Yes, right. They've been killed. Now, that was an easy one to an extent because it was a solo elf whom we could mob. See, the mace dwarves got there in the end. Managed to smash the head of the elf. Right, so now where are we going? Where is the nearest... I mean, really, we want the nearest dwarf who needs saving. I think that means we head over here. Right, I'll unpause and let them run over there. Someone else has died. Is there still someone who needs saving over here? There are 2 elves. We don't need to save them. I mean, they're going to need saving soon, but... yes. Do that and then go, right, who is still alive then? So there's a peasant. All right, no, that's the peasant we know about. That's the one we've just saved. Well, kind of saved. There is the doctor, who is way up in the mountains. Is there anyone else who's in a fight at the moment? Who, to be fair, oh yes, they do have an elf next to them. So Zephon is a bit of a distance away. Where are Ilral and Datan? Right, they're way over there. He says Ilral. Oops, Stoats. Okay, given that actually, let's go after these. Zephon's dead anyway. Let's go after this dwarf, this elf anyway. I think our immigrants are mostly dying now. What's Eton up to? Oh, they're not actually fighting. They're getting grumpy about the rain. So yes, Ilral is down here and uninjured, apparently. So I think we should now, yes, be mopping up primarily. There we go. I think there is a surviving elf spearman around here somewhere then. Okay, a little bit below us. There appears to be an extremely slow battle going on here. Possibly they're both unarmed. Yes. And now the recruit has collapsed through overexertion and has become a wrestler because, well, they just kept wrestling until they gained some skill. Oh, there's a war tiger down here somewhere, or at least there's someone who has spotted a war tiger. So our number of invaders is slowly dropping. This is good. Right, that's that elf dealt with. So see where the rest are. There can't be many of them left now. No. So there's one centre south-ish. Also centre-ish, south-ish. Way up to the north. And over to the east. So let's open the. Oh, how brave are we feeling? Okay, I've just realised that things are getting sluggish, and I may have to do a restart soon to fix whatever is going on with X-Wayland. Not quite yet. Because we could open. Oh yes, we could open the inner drawbridge. Is anyone like staffing those siege engines? No. I'm confused by that. Now let's kill some more elves first. Right. So where are those ones? Were those ones towards the south? Somewhere around here. You're apparently actually fighting, so we want to know where that is. Oh right, there's still a living elf down here. Well, probably there's enough. Okay, in that case we will ask everyone to come back over here until that elf is dealt with, which I think they have been. Yes. Our weary has, I think, been killed. Huh, maybe. Well, they don't appear on the list. Oh no, there they are. Our weary has not been killed. No, there they are. Okay. How's it going for them now? I mean, kind of weirdly, but yeah, that's surely not going to end well for the elf now. Right, good. So, where are the rest? One very close to the south edge of the map. Are you fleeing? Yes, right. The other two are fleeing. Okay. Let us, in that case, disband our military squads, open the inner drawbridge, turn off the burrow and rescue the wounded if there are any of them still alive. So here is our last elf who has just left the map. Right, so once the inner drawbridge is open, people will actually start doing things. So what are we going to need to do? We should probably unforbid all of the random rubbish, at least that's around here. We should dump all those corpses so they're not just lying around, rotting and making the place look untidy. We'll let the tigers skeletonize, and then we can take them apart into bones for decorating things. These are just people going grumbling about the rain.
Well, I mean, that's understandable, really.
We could also open the other half of the outer drawbridge, couldn't we? Just for elegance. So our butcher's shop has plenty of bones from various tigers, etc., that we can dispose of. I mean, the bones we can turn into useful things. The nervous tissue, etc., less so. We also have lots of elk bird feathers that should be disposed of, and giant cave toes and toad nose cartilage, and crocodile scales that sadly we can't turn into.
Nose cartridges are what you load a nose tool with.
Thank you. Simon suggests that nose cartridges are what you load a nose tool with. There's at least some things marked for dumping. Right, so do we now have a soap maker's workshop? We do, right. So let us just schedule a make soap from tallow task and see if it happens. I think those skulls are not, those heads are not going to get usefully used, and I don't think I care enough to make them work properly. See, now someone comes to operate the catapult. Switch these two back to keep loaded though. Wow, we've got a mayor who bans exports. How annoying. Is that a stray pig? If so, we should slaughter it for its meat. No, no, it's someone's pet.
Famous locked tomb mystery. The tomb is totally sealed, yet somehow inside it is endless shotgun shells and Uzi clips and so on. How did they get there?
It was one of life's great mysteries.
Right, I think outdoor refuse is not, in particular these
No bodies, or there are murder weapons.
these corpses are not being collected at the moment. I'd like them to be collected.
Or an affliction in reverse too, though. You go around the rooms and you all the various
Um,
various weapons, and you've got to find out which of the 6 people is the one that was murdered. One's been very quiet.
all right, some of these are dwarf bits, and which can be buried, can't they? Let's not mark them for dumping then. Oh yes, we're probably going to want a bunch of... Oh, we've got a bunch of tombs upstairs, so they'll probably start getting filled, all being well, which is like appropriate. Except I bet we haven't got enough for the number of dead that this has produced. No. Have we got any spare coffins then? Got some. I bet we're going to need more though. Let's work out where that's meant to be happening. And ask for more coffins. Right. Right, we have some yak soap. Quite a lot of yak soap. So that's nice. That's probably enough soap to last us for years. So the first batch at least will go into the... will probably end up in the hospital which needs it. So let's add another make soap from tallow. Oh. Has someone accidentally cooked all of our tallow? That's kind of embarrassing. Do not cook leopard tallow. Also, we have plenty of leopard tallow. Do not cook potato wine either. Well, we've got more fat, so probably from tigers. Obviously, it would be good to make some tiger soap. So is all that yak soap going into the... The problem with the phrase yak soap is it makes me think of the Korean verb yaksokadar, to promise. Or possibly the noun, I suppose, yaksok, promise. Where is all that soap going anyway? Is it going into the hospital or is it going into a stockpile? Is bar/block stockpile number 22 the soap stockpile? There's also a bunch of store item in location, which I think is probably about putting the soap in the... No, soap. The soap stockpile is called soap, for clarity. So at present we haven't got so much soap that it needs to go into its own stockpile. Oh, everything's gone sluggish. Don't explode. I've still got 9 gigabytes of swap free, but maybe I should... What time is it? It's only 22:45. I'm going to, now that we've finished that siege, I'm going to do a quick save, quit, kick ex-Wayland in the head, go back again, so that we don't have an embarrassing crash. So there will be a short delay while I do play silly buggers with ex-Wayland. There'll be a short delay mostly while we save the world information. And once again, the world was saved. Oh no, it's the day was saved, isn't it? Oh well, quit.
I was going to say only 14 hours to save the world.
What am I doing? Yes, kill all ex-Wayland. Clonk, that's better. Restart Dwarf Fortress, press a few buttons here so that it actually works. Hello again, Dwarf Fortress. Right, so now ex-Wayland is no longer eating all of my swap. For now. I'm sure it'll start again. There's an argument that this is sufficiently reproducible that I should report it to someone. Thank you for making... Oh dear, there's a great big cloud of miasma there. Don't know why. There's like only a couple of teeth down here. All right, there's a rotten corpse there. I think I might need to do something to say dump the corpses from outside. Let's try... It has already set to gather outdoor refuse, so that should be enough. Okay. Oh yes, there's a task scheduled for that one. Right, good. Have a unconscious peasant. Oh, are you one of our new arrivals? Yes, I think you are. Who is, yes, going to need a little bit of repairs. I think we might end up being a bit short of thread. How are we off for thread? Do I need to send someone down into the caverns to fetch more? Yeah, we've got adequate thread for now. And we have soap, so we're less likely to get infections now. Yeah, someone should dispose of that rotting elf before everyone gets annoyed about the smell. Sorry, rotting human. Even worse. They're bigger for one thing. Actually, I think canonically they're not, but... oh, we should unforbid all the items there. Some of them might be useful. More generally, we probably want to unforbid basically everything now. Like all those big piles of crossbow bolts we can bring back and reuse. Don't think a yak skeleton is worth keeping. I presume Rakust's body will eventually be hauled back to where it's meant to be.
I did that thing that you told me to do to let me see in the history of things which I've locked, which is some thingy thing. Yes. I didn't know it was that important. I just see it. But you can search for Doomcop. Or I can just show you that.
Right. What's going on down here? It's goose, or goat, sorry. Yeah, lots of tidying up to do here.
Do you remember what it was? I can tell Jacob what we did. Something more in the properly. Yeah.
More of Cogsac's teeth. He's going to take so long to bury. There's another one. I think you have more teeth than the average dwarf. We will eventually get the atom smasher working, which is why it's worth dumping all of these bits of corpse. Possibly we should dump like all the clothes as well, but...
Proxy thing, I'm still in the UK, it's not like it's a VPN or something.
It makes it look to the other site as if your connection's coming from somewhere else, so it doesn't notice that you're on the internet.
So would that be a way to view, say, Reddit things that are currently requiring me to load Tor browser?
Right. It's mostly just a dwarf. Kind of trying to find all the rubbish that has turned up and find the right thing to do with each item. We are going to need quite a lot of coffins, aren't we? I think we probably don't have enough like tombs up on the top of the hill for this. So I keep finding dead dwarves as I wander around, and the occasional dead rabbit. Right, I could possibly look up the hill as well, couldn't I? Let's just have an explore up here. I've dealt with all the ones very close to the fortress. I mean, we're not going to have a shortage of socks, at least. There's another dwarf. So many dead dwarves. I think we need to keep a llama skeleton. Right. No, we're still making the coffins. Right. Okay. So that's most things marked for their proper, like, oh dear, what's rotting down here? What's getting rid of then? I mean, yes, possibly, ideally, it would have been left outside in a forbidden state until it had finished rotting, but I didn't actually remember to do that, so... at some point, we're going to want to build a railway somewhere to operate a repeater to control our new to control the rubbish disposal system in a slightly more safe fashion than the old one. Right, we can mark a couple more tombs up here, which will ensure that oh, that's slightly worrying. Someone's been missing for a week. We don't have a system that's likely to kill people these days, I think. Right, did they accidentally get crushed by the drawbridge? But I don't think it can crush people when lowering because it lowers into open space. Well, that was Etua Tuncan, wasn't it? Yes, let's... Oh, we've probably got actually somewhere lurking a slab that we need to erect, haven't we? Yes, there's a jet memorial to Urvad Thingamy. Well, let's continue putting those. And then we'll also make a memorial to Etua Tuncan. Just in case we don't find their body. So the current situation with the rubbish dump is simply that immense amounts of stuff are getting piled up down there. Ishtan Kubu Kilid. Right, they're still alive. That's why we're destroying their teeth rather than trying to save them. So we're presumably in a situation where an immense number of people are moving items around, yes. Oh, we can allow people to harvest again now, can't we? We don't want everyone harvesting though, but let's allow our planters to harvest again. Given we have quite a, let's also, since we have 2 people who actually have planter as their highest skill, let's at least allow some harvesting to happen. Not too much harvesting, mind, but all right, yeah, we have a bit of a slab problem because no one has brought enough limestone up yet. Lost where the limestone's meant to go anyway. There, yes, that stockpile, stone stockpile number 3, is not. Like, someone is delivering the rock for it, but I think it's not really arriving fast enough. Maybe we need to add another wheelbarrow to that stockpile so as to allow for more parallelism in the fetching of stone. Oh, we've managed to dispose of most of the stray kitten teeth. Excellent. That one wasn't marked for dumping for some reason. There is a gradually reducing number of dead enemies out the front of the fortress.
I suspect it's the JavaScript on the page, potentially.
I saw Pete Bee's yellow thing and then looked back here to see what message I had. Was that the Pete Bee's?
So all of those already have owners. We've got 2 more coffins now. So we can install them there and there. And if we mark those...
So I made the window wider, it stopped. I imagine it's something that happens when at just
At 77 characters wide.
Yeah, that's not very backwards at all.
Right, we could then try to dig out some more little tombs.
Oh yeah, if I get just the right width, it does it. Yes, if it's this narrow, then both the blue things like this. If it's this narrow, only view source appears. If it's this narrow,
I'm just trying to think how we fit these
yes.
tombs in. I think that's a slightly useful selection of new tombs.
Almost like an old problem caused by the large Byzantine revolt has been largely repaired by the reparations paid to me by the Abbasids for unsuccessfully trying to wage war on me. I said that's a good place to say and stop and go to bed.
Right, there are no longer an enormous pile of dead enemies, at least directly outside the fortress. Ones from further afield are still being dragged in, though. This feels like a good place to build a railway, doesn't it?
I don't know, does it?
So I think my idea for the railway is based on the fact that we want to have a floor hatch that's above the bridge, and we end up with a cycle that I think is essentially 400 ticks long that goes floor, which order, roughly close floor hatch, lower bridge to destroy all the objects, raise bridge, which if there were anything on top of the floor of bridge would hurl them into the air, but there won't be, open floor hatch. So we have 4 events that we want to happen, and pressure plates take 100 ticks to release. So in general, if we want to do something and then undo it, we need at least 100 ticks between those. And so while we could in theory reduce the cycle time below 400, it seems reasonably comfortable if we make it 400.
There's a nice crescent moon outside, and also Newton Stream.
Actually, if we got an area of convenient surface rock so that we don't have to lay block tracks. Where was that place where we like chopped the top off the mountain? It's there. We can't do it as a... it's going to be slightly awkward because we can't easily do it as a nice 10 by 10 square, but maybe we could do it as 20 by 2 or thereabouts. So if we smooth all of that area, we could then lay minecart tracks on it. Also, what's that doing? That's just wrong. I appreciate it's pointless, but there's a random upward slope on a square that you can't use an upward slope on, and another one there. Let's get rid of them.
What's the difference between an upward slope and a downward slope?
A downward slope is an upward slope viewed from higher up. So essentially there is an object you can put, well, a construction or thing you can leave, kind of shape you can leave in the underlying rock on a square, which is a slope. And when you're looking at the layer on which it appears, it's labelled as an upward slope. And what that means is that a dwarf or other creature can move from that square onto a square that's 8 adjacent horizontally and 1 square higher up. If the corresponding square 8 adjacent horizontally and on the same layer, I think it's 8 adjacent, is a wall. So merely a platform above an upward slope isn't useful, but a wall next to an upward slope, the upward slope magically transforms into sloping towards that wall, essentially. Like you don't actually get to define the direction of the slope, but the slope just happens to work properly most of the time. If you're then 1 Z level higher, the same square looks like a downward slope. All that means is open space over an upward slope. This is labelled as unusable limonite upward slope, and indeed unusable limonite downward slope, because there is nothing around it that you could possibly use it to access. And so usually when you...
So it's like a freestanding ramp of the kind which would be usable if only you had a motor vehicle to drive over it at high speed.
Yes. Yes, kind of. But actually even that doesn't work quite right. But there are bugs in how the minecarts work, whereby a ramp that goes up to the side of the track, as in where off to the side of a track you have a wall and a platform that's 1 to Z level higher, will accelerate a minecart passing along a track, even though the track is all at the same Z level. These are called impulse ramps, and I consider them such an egregious exploit that I don't use them. But yes, so these ramps were left by mining out this lot, and usually the ramps get destroyed if you demolish an entire top of a mountain, but sometimes they don't quite get destroyed properly. So I've just marked them for, look, tidy those up, would you? So now, all being well, the dwarves will come up and smooth this section. Oh, that's probably okay. They've probably struck onyx up here, haven't they? It's not usually much of an issue if you see a single you have struck thing. It's when you see 10 or so you have struck thing. That usually means that someone has gone in deeper into the caverns than you previously expected them to. Well, we'll dig out that onyx so that we can encrust things with it. Steph says the slope is lazily evaluated. Yes, it kind of is. Oh, we found Eto Tuncan. We just had not gone over there, it looks like. Right, good. We don't need that memorial after all. We never did read the memorial that I made, did we? To the person who, to either of the people who I think both got destroyed by the rubbish disposal system. So this is a gypsum memorial to Kubuk Esenkunib. In memory of Kubuk Esenkunib, born 124, went missing in the year 127. Creator of Chuck Trapped the Church of Feed. So they had actually managed to have a strange mood before being squashed. Lover of the play of zephyrs, which is presumably some kind of poetic form or something. This, meanwhile, is a memorial to Ervad Momuz Almosh. The slab reads, in memory of Ervad Momuz Almosh, born 109, went missing in the year 127. Loving wife at one with alpaca wool. They both got crushed by the rubbish disposal system, which is why we're now constructing a railway, because that will be safer, we think. Maybe. Pink Beast points out that it was a rubbish disposal system. Well, I mean, it disposed pretty effectively. I've accidentally made these two tombs meet up. Oh well. We're probably going to fill them at the same time anyway. I don't think I actually need to carefully make all these tombs distinct, given how many people need to be put in them. Like, possibly we do just want to dig mass graves for this. Because we could just, like, dig each of these corridors one cell deeper. No, not with that button. Don't do it with auto mining, that would be unhelpful. And stick more coffins in them and then wall them in once we've dealt with all of our current dead, of whom there are far too many. Right. Right, we now actually have some soap in the soap stockpile, but only a little bit. So I think we want to make some more soap. Found another kitten tooth. Should probably actually have we have at least some of our siege operators like practicing siege operating. Stick that one back into practice mode. Ooh, the cotton grass has come into bloom. You can see cotton grass all over the place now. Things, I was going to say things are getting sluggish, but they're not. In that, oh yes, I need to do that before I can unpause, because everything was still flashing. But what was happening was that I was in an error message. Where's Rovod Thingamy? How many of their teeth have managed to get properly filed? Oh, Rakust. Was it Rakust? I can't remember. There's quite a number of teeth there. Why do I keep hitting the same one every time? I'm not very good at this. Yes, most of the ones who've got killed by the elves, well, actually still need to be collected because they're further away, I suspect. Right, so now we have a section of smoothed track, minecart track, that is probably about the size we want. It is, of course, thus a little asymmetric compared with a nice square, in that the four phases won't be quite the same length, what with the corners. So now what I think I want to do is to try to carve as much of it as possible I think that's probably all marked now, into useful track, and then we'll lay track across that gap. Little worried by the booze situation. Let's grow some more strawberries, if nothing else. Grow random plants. I'm sure it'll be fine. Really is just me going, what can I select? I don't know. Let's grow some things. That will at least mean that we try to grow something which should give us some strawberries in due course, which we can brew into wine and such. Yeah, we don't need to worry about food for the moment. That's not a problem. See, they're very happy to go and operate the practice bolt thrower the moment you mention it. Are you just loading this one? Oh, right. Oh, that's not, it's not in, P is not practice. I want T for training. P is prepare. There you go. Now you can get better at being a siege operator. Though, like, I think the major part of being a siege operator is actually damn well turning up to siege the operate. No, hang on, operate the siege. Don't think so. I may have to adjust these tombs so that they don't overlap. Simply because I'm trying now not to trying to put multiple coffins in a tomb, in a physical tomb, so that we have so that we don't end up having to do quite so much digging. No, I don't want this stockpile to have bins in it. That's unhelpful. The point of this stockpile is to have just enough blocks to allow us to block off all of the tombs. That is too many blocks. Right, here is our minecart track being nicely carved by someone who's very quick at it. Yes, this proficient engraver is probably, yes, helpful there. Apart from that square for some reason. Right, so now we only have this little bit that is over loam that's going to need to be laid in. I could probably have found like a rectangle that wouldn't need that, but so we can draw it that long. Asked to construct it out of limestone blocks and then actually remove the end two. Strictly, the track ends are not actually a problem, but like, let's make this pretty, at least relatively pretty. Right, and then a bunch of dwarves turn up to lay some tracks. So then there's a question of how do we... The reason I'm doing this outside is because that means I can build a windmill or multiple windmills to power it. So the tricky thing is, where do I put the rollers to push the mine carts around? And again, my original plan was that we would have 4 of these so that each section was more or less the same length, because the mine carts got started off at the same speed. And I'd kind of still like to do that, but it is going to require rather a lot of windmills. But that's fine, we've got some wood. So yes, I think that's sensible. I think what we want to do then is to build some rollers, and we want the lowest speed because otherwise we'd have to make this track even bigger. And I think we should have one after each turn and a pair about halfway along. Oh, we don't have enough mechanisms to build 4 of them. Right. And we only have overly decorated ropes for now. Right, well, let's do the 2 end ones then. And then we'll... then we'll make more rock mechanisms and more, possibly billen, I don't know, chains. Where's the place where we make rock mechanisms? There it is. And there's where we'll make chains. Or not, because apparently it's not under that category. Oh, you do it like this, don't you? No, you do it like that, and then you don't have to worry about what category it's in. Right. All right, we can't get anything out of the moat at the moment because someone's gone and locked the gate, the trapdoor leading to it. Fix that. Okay, we do have slightly too many dwarves organising, bringing crossbow bolts back to that bolt thrower. It does kind of work. And our siege operator is now a master siege operator. Right, so now what we want to do up here is to build some very small tombs. That basically just encompass a single coffin each. Not for individual teeth, but What's going on? What are you doing? All right, you're collecting coal. I see. Because I suppose we do generally need more coal. On which subject? Let's do a bit more mining up here. Oops. So yes, we're still allocating people to tombs. So I think I'm going to ask for another 10 coffins, please. Right, how are we off for soap now? Just 1 bar of yak soap in there. Is anyone like making the soap then? Did that get cancelled? Let's just ask to make 1 soap from tallow. And that way we'll get complaints if it turns out to be impossible repeatedly rather than just occasionally. Why is there a strawberry seed in this cage? Can we dump the strawberry seed from the cage? I'm not sure. So we're still, if we need more coffins in these tombs, then let's just keep digging in to that wall. To make more space for them. Right, how's the... So we've got a couple of rollers now. So those will propel the minecarts like along each edge. I mean, that should be enough rollers, but the problem is the timing won't quite be perfect. But that's not a problem really. Like, that will just mean there are bits that the minecarts end up running some sections a bit slowly. Go on. What I think I do want to do then is to construct a door after each roller so that we can have a lever that's an emergency shut off for this that just closes a door in front of the roller, closes both doors. And then when you pull it again, it will simply release that and immediately the minecart will start going and we won't have to like muck around with restarting it manually like we had to with the old one. That does mean I need a wall next to the track at each roller, which means then I have slight awkwardness about positioning the windmill, but I think it'll work. So I think we construct a wall, by which I mean a pillar, here, and another pillar here. And oh, we can't actually place a windmill here because there's some scenery in the way. Excuse me, we're going to have to do strip off some of this scenery just in order to have enough space to build a windmill. But we can build the other windmill. Right, so then we can put in a door there. Ideally not a very decorated one. Right, and now let's clear away those slopes. Right, and then that's the space where we can install a windmill. And we can also install a door there. The other undecorated door. Let's have a look at the soap situation now. Well, the task was completed. Where is the soap? All right, we have a great big stock of goat soap. Excellent. I was hoping for tiger soap. No, you have made it from goats. I'm sure that will smell lovely. I don't actually care which coffins get installed where, but I'm slightly too lazy to change the settings just for doing this. It seems to be the same tomb, which is confusing me. Yeah, that's not how that's meant to work. Explain why we don't have very many available tombs. Why can't I do that? Right, that's better. I think because the coffin was kind of officially occupied. Similarly, we seem to have an enormous tomb there. Goden Thingamy. Right, which coffin are they actually in? Looks like it's that one. That one's empty, despite being notionally the resting place of the same dwarf. Don't quite know what's happened up here. Similarly, that's Goden Thingamy, whose corpse is somewhere completely other. Let's just remove them entirely and then make a bunch of 1 square tombs. Actually, no, have I... That is actually a convenient single square tomb. Good, that's correct. Right. May as well do the ones we've scheduled the installation of a coffin into as well. Right, now maybe we won't run out of tombs because we haven't now don't accidentally have a bunch of tombs containing like 4 coffins each. There. Seb points out that tiger soap probably actually smells even worse than goat soap. Yes, yes, I admit. It's probably true. So we could then... I bet we don't actually have any minecarts in this fortress yet, do we? Let's make some minecarts. Well, a minecart anyway. What should we make the minecart out of? What metals do we have that are really heavy and will seriously injure elves who get in the way? We can make a lead minecart. We've probably got some platinum kicking around. Apparently not, no. Okay, let's make a lead minecart. One. Oh, if we've only got 1 lead bar, that's not going to be enough, is it? Definitely don't make infinite lead minecarts. Okay, we'll make it out of copper then. Got plenty of copper. And let's set up a lever to control that. To control those doors. Lots more people are burying dwarves now. Excellent. Actually, can I just look at tombs under here and work out if there are any unoccupied? Yes, I can, and no, there aren't. Right. In that case, we should probably make yet more space up here for more coffins. Right, the booze situation is getting better, that's nice. And as we can see, lots of dwarves are being brought up here for burial. Also, lots of nice rock up here that can be taken downstairs and converted into furniture, etc. It is now summer. Do we get a caravan in the summer at the moment? Is that when the humans turn up? Right, so that lever is the repeater control and wants to be linked to that door and that door. Right, and we can see that windmill is operating and running that roller. This windmill has not yet been built. You can see we've got elk birds thinking about entering the fortress, but they're conveniently getting scared off by our war dogs, which is what the war dogs are there for. Right, now both rollers are operating. How is our request for minecart doing? It's waiting for the manager to get round to processing it. Presumably you're currently loading that bolt thrower and then emptying it, and then you've decided to wander off. Excellent. Well, I'm sure someone else will have some fun with it. Yes, there we go. Possibly the same person, actually. Oh well. Okay, that one got suspended, I think, because there was a bit of stone in the way. We can make some more little 1x1 tombs. Okay, we should fix that. We do have some unassigned tombs now, so possibly we've got enough. Finally. I think that probably means that once we drain place item in tomb jobs, we'll wall in all of those tombs, even the ones that, possibly even the ones that are actually still unoccupied, simply to avoid anyone reviving anyone. Right, we now have a minecart. So I think all we need to do with that minecart is to place it on that roller with no rules, and then it will start moving as soon as we open that door. And we can delete the route as soon as the minecart's in place. So, okay, we have 4 spare tombs. I'm wondering if the right thing here is actually to abolish a couple of existing tombs so that their contents get moved. There are a lot of teeth in that tomb, though. I suppose we could abolish the ones that have no corpses in once everything is settled. There are still a couple of things needing burial, so let's be patient for now. I mean, I'm slightly worried that we're going to get a siege turn up while we're still organising things. Where exactly are you going with that soap? Like, there's a lovely well right next to it. But are you instead going to the hospital to clean yourself in the hospital? Yes. Still blissful after a soapy bath, that's good. Oh, what's the bedroom situation anyway? Oh, we filled all the bedrooms. We may not have filled all the tombs, but we filled all the bedrooms. Oh, I don't care. Just install whatever beds we happen to have. Also, we'll want some doors for those bedrooms, won't we? Right there. Let's just wait for the doors to be installed as well, and then we will mark all of those bedrooms so that people can not have to sleep on cave floors. So if you're going to leave stuff lying around in your bedroom, then I'm definitely going to give you a cabinet. I mean, it looks like I give most people a cabinet anyway, so let's add some more cabinets. Oops, wrong place. Let's get it right. That'll do. Let's leave the other ones to accumulate bling for a little longer. A human caravan has arrived. Right, sure we can find something to sell them. Admittedly, we don't seem to have that much by way of stupidly overpriced objects. Obviously we can make them take our... Oh, we haven't got that many large gems even. I mean, we do have an utterly ludicrous granite throne. I mean, it might be too valuable, really. Let's bring those shale thrones up at least. Oh, that's a nice price, that table. Oh, and we've probably got a bunch of wrong-sized clothes now, haven't we? Like, we don't want large tunics. Or indeed worn-out dresses. Large rat leather shoes are shoes made from large rat leather. But on the other hand, those rope reed shoes are all, many of them at least, actually the wrong size for dwarves. And the remaining ones are too worn to be used. Okay, this will provide us with more than adequate stuff, won't it? Because there are so many large objects here that we can dispose of. And some that are just badly worn and not really worth keeping. And unlike proper goblinite, elfite is not even, you can't even melt it down. Kind of going, oh, we may as well dispose of things that don't have pairs. This is a lot of objects. My dwarves are going to be very busy hauling all of this unsuitably sized clothing. Up to the trade depot. Headwear. I haven't looked at headwear. And that's handwear, Ben. Oh, we don't seem to have any headwear. What? None at all? I'm fairly sure we've made some. Oh well. Right, at this point, there will be an enormous number of bring item to depot jobs. Oh, gods. And at this point, the undead turn up. Right, I'm going to say that it's 2 minutes past midnight and I can stop for the night. That's an excellent plan, isn't it? Because I don't want to deal with an undead siege when I'm quite tired and it's just after midnight. So we will save the vast quantity of undead who are about to attack, presumably, our arriving human caravan for later. No, you can't eat my brains today. Come back on Friday, and at that point you can eat my brains, or at least my dwarves' brains. But for now, I'm going to say that yes, it is. We are not going to deal with you tonight. We will deal with you later, and for now, I will say good night. Good night.